Fam, we're back. We're back and we're live from New York motherfucking city. Oh shit, okay. These pets really got me fucked up. They truly of a dog and a cat. The dog always wants to play with the cat. But for anybody who owns a cat, you all know that cats don't need to be fucked with. You gotta leave them alone. But they be wilding out at the randomest times. Anyways, y'all, we're in New York City. I moved 2 months ago to New York, and so I'm not going to use that as an excuse for not making podcast episodes because it's just like at this point I don't have any excuse. I just be out here posting every so often, and it's probably the reason why my listening count is still like 5. So I'm gonna attempt. Now that we're fully settled here in New York, I'm gonna attempt. I promise you all to put out more episodes. But for anybody who's new to the podcast and has never seen my face before, welcome to this little cult of people who just love talking about fashion, creativity, music, everything in between. I am a marketer by day, but I truly, in the weekends and the evenings and anytime I can, love to indulge myself in anything that is creative, especially in things that are in conversation of fashion, music, all that jazz, okay? At this point, for anybody who's listened to the podcast episode before, this conversation is probably no surprise to you. Although, I feel like the timing might be. We're 6 months away from the weekend of the year, at which at this point, I can probably confidently say that I have some expertise in, and that is Coachella. For those who don't know, I've been going for the last 11 years. I was truly going to cut it off at 10. I was going to be like, a decade of Coachella is enough for me, but FOMO always gets me, y'all. And I feel like this next year is going to be no different. It's a habit. I say this every time, but going to the festival is a habit. Bonus, though, I will say, I grew up in the Coachella Valley. So for me, a trip to the desert is both an opportunity to turn up, but also to visit family. And that's how I like to justify the atrocity of that $700 fucking dollar ticket, okay? Anyways, here we are, 4 months early, but we already know what the Coachella 2026 lineup looks like. And every year, I'm here to give you my take. So let's get right into it, okay? Like I said, the lineup dropped earlier than I think in past years. Last year was a little early, and then this year they were just like, fuck it. 2 reasons jump out to me, at least, for why they did that. One, they're broke as shit. Last year they didn't sell out, so I'm sure this year they were probably like, you know what, with everything going on, the looming recession, they just needed, in my opinion, as many months as possible to try to sell out the festival. The other reason might also be because I think the lineup got leaked. Again, last year it leaked and it forced them to announce earlier than planned, but I think a combination of those 2 reasons was why it's literally September and the lineup is already out. I do want to unpack 2024 and talk a little bit about the finances because the numbers do really tell a story. Coachella still made money, but it wasn't at the same level of success, I think, as consumers and how we perceive Coachella it used to be. By most accounts, 2024 had the slowest ticket sales in a decade. Week 1 used to sell out in, if not hours, like minutes. Last year, it took about a month. And you're probably asking why. Well, let's talk about the fucking ticket prices. They're up 50% since 2022 from what was $449 to $499. I think for younger fans and the new generation of people who are going to this festival, feeling inflation everywhere, that can honestly be a pretty big deal breaker to going to the festival. I always tell people this story, but when I used to, my first time going to the festival, back I think it was like 2013, I think. Tickets were like 300 something, like sure, close to $400, but I think they $399. I feel like that seems right. I'm a child of immigrant parents who I grew up with no money, like literally no money. So what I would do is I would literally save every single dollar that I would get from anything throughout the year just to go to this fucking festival. Why? Because all the rich fucking white boys and girls in my school, they were pulling up. And in my effort to assimilate, and like really trying to pretend like I had coin, I would save up all my money just to pretend like I had enough to go to this festival. But literally, y'all, my like senior year of high school was the first year I went, and I remember like I even had to ask my parents, I think, for $100 to like try to just build up the $300+ to try to go to this festival, and I barely was able to get that money. 2025, 2026, we live in a different era, and with everything going on, I can just me as a grown adult who is not the richest person in the world, but I make money. I cannot fathom spending $600, $700 at this point for this fucking ticket. And every year, it just seems to get even more and more fucking crowded. Now, another reason, you know, my dog sometimes doesn't want to be in a camera, okay? If you are listening to the podcast, just know that you can also watch an episode of the podcast and through Spotify at least be easily able to tune in between video and audio if you wanted to. I think in other platforms it might just be audio that you're listening to. On YouTube, the video's also up, so if you're ever just trying to chill with me and, join in the conversation, tune the fuck in over YouTube or Spotify and let's kick it together, okay? Now back to this whole thing. Another reason what I would say, Coachella had slow selling years is the lineup. Like let's be real about the fucking lineup, okay? I know some of y'all bitches are truly trying to say that, the lineups are good. Like you have to know all these like cool people who are going and be in the inn and like, no. I know that Coachella is a cultural phenomenon, influencer Olympics. Like, people go to this shit just for the fucking picture. Like, it's not even, I would say maybe after 2015, 2016, actually, pre-pandemic, like 2018. After that, it just turned into shit. Like, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat this right now. It really, like, the vibes and the aura of being at the festival are not the same. And I'm not trying to come here and sound like that one fucking guy who's like, oh yeah, influencers be ruin everything, but like, no, they really are. They really fucking are. And what used to be a pretty damn cool festival to go with, where everybody was just trying to have a good time, is different. Okay, it's different. And although I will say this, you can still have the best time of your life at Coachella as long as you're going with the right people and you know what to do. Trust me, like, Coachella is a good ass fucking time, but it is different. And I do also think a factor for all of this financial decline that Coachella has seen has truly been these headliners. Most people, like I said, these influencers don't give a fuck about who's showing up to the festival because all they want to do is take the little picture. But for music lovers, I'm sure you've all seen it, okay? Some headliners in these past couple of years just weren't the moment. You know what I mean? The massive, like, diehard fan bases weren't there to generate the buzz. We didn't have the big legendary names. And I say this all the time, but to me, Coachella used to always be two things, right? One place where I could see legends come back to the stages, and the place also where I could catch the next wave of really cool artists. Now it's giving top 50. You know what I mean? I will also say there's also been a rise of just festivals everywhere. One thing that I've noticed while living on the East Coast is that there just aren't a ton of festivals this weekend. Actually, the Global Citizen Festival, I think, is happening. I think New York has Govball. But besides that, at least here in New York, I don't know if there are many other like big festivals. In California, all the fucking time, there's festivals everywhere, right? The competition for festivals has increased. There are festivals popping up in every sense of form, either in California or across the country. Coachella just doesn't have the monopoly that it used to. And tying it back to really the finances, even with 80% of tickets sold, insiders say 2024 wasn't the guaranteed money printer it once was. So let's zoom out. Coachella isn't dead, but in my opinion, is wobbling. The early lineup drop, I feel like that says that they're just feeling the heat of this all. Now, enough talk about where Coachella has been, and let's talk about this fucking lineup. I'll spend the rest of this episode complaining. I just know it, okay? And even though I am gonna sit here and talk shit about it, I will show up in April, like I always do. The only headliner that I'm truly like the most excited for is my boy Justin Bieber. With the 2 recent album releases he's had, a career full of absolute bangers, if done right, this performance could be fucking crazy. That said, I want to keep it realistic. What I hear is that there could be a change for Weekend 2. And I will say this, it's not because I want him to cancel, but because festivals are messy. History, in my opinion, gives us the blueprint. For anybody who was there, Coachella 2023, when Frank Ocean was headlining, you know what I'm talking about. Weekend 1, my boy Frank showed up after leg injuries. Doctors advised that he had changes to his setup. Plant production for the ice rink and the skaters were scrapped. His set started an hour late. Weekend 2, it was canceled. Canceled completely. Of course, fans were pissed. Live streams canceled. There were curfew issues. There was a total chaos outside of what happened to Frank. It was just, it was just a lot. So if you hear rumors about Justin Weekend 2, I don't think it's paranoia necessarily. Sometimes the perfect plan does hit a snag. And that's what I feel like could happen with such a legend like Justin. Now for the rest of the headliners, this is where I'm going to sound like a broken record. Coachella used to create moments, legendary headliners, reunions, mega fucking pop stars. It felt like history was being made every year at this festival. Lately, I feel like we've caved in a little bit to mainstream pressure and booked names that frankly don't feel, in my opinion, like they're headline worthy. And I'm not coming at a place from being like, oh my gosh, these people aren't amazing, because Sabrina Carpenter and Karol G, incredible artists. Like, I feel like Karol G, for just the Latin community, has done so fucking much, being able to be such a mainstream artist and to be able to headline Coachella is fucking crazy. I don't know this, and please do your research here, but like, she might be the first female Latin artist to headline Coachella. Like, I know Bad Bunny did it once, but is she the first female? Like, that, let me do some research, but if that is the fucking case, that shit is crazy. Sabrina Carpenter, I saw her, was it last year or 2 years ago at the festival? She's cool. She's a performer. She's amazing. But again, I'm not coming at this from a place of like being like, oh, they suck. It's just that for the venue, for what Coachella is, I don't think they're headline worthy. It's not about virality or popularity. Like I said, it's about musicianship. It's about performance. It's about performative energy, the aura of a true like festival moment. Legends like Beyonce, in my opinion, had it right. Lady Gaga last year, amazing. But I do feel like the overall headlining matrix that is being done here, there's an edge that Coachella used to have that is slipping. And I think I might have done a previous episode where I talked about how headliners and how the billing for Coachella is done, but it's strategic. And again, I don't necessarily blame Goldenvoice or the festival overall for how the headline came to be. But I do think it's become a lot more selective and mainstream leaning than in past years. For those who don't know, Goldenvoice essentially is looking at ticket pulling power, right? Like who's riding the wave right now and who can they actually book. That's kind of like the two things that they look at. They're juggling hype, demographics, and money, trying to cover different genres like pop, indie, and the legacy artists all into one lineup. So I understand how it can be complex. On paper, it works. In reality, sometimes in there's just this like spark that is missing, in my opinion. Like I said, weekend one didn't sell out in hours like it used to, right? And now it's taking weeks. Ads everywhere. Everywhere. I promise you, if you follow Coachella, you were at least getting one or two Instagram story ads for the festival a day until those fucking tickets sold out. The festival feels like it's trying too hard to justify itself, and the cultural moment that used to be there just isn't quite there anymore. Now, if we were to talk specifics, headliners, Sabrina Carpenter, Justin Bieber, and Karol G, they're already drawing big crowds. Karol G has such a dedicated fan base, and if you haven't listened to her songs beforehand, like, what the fuck are you doing? She's incredible. Justin Bieber, legend himself, come on. Sabrina Carpenter has had so much media attention for her tour, for her album, for what she's been doing. But the question, in my opinion, always is, do they carry enough festival moment weight? Who knows? Who knows? Obviously, like I said, 2026 sold out, weekend one and weekend two already. I do really think that, and not to sound shady, but Justin Bieber probably did carry a lot of the weight in making that happen. But again, this is just my opinion, okay? Don't fucking come after me. The middle tier of artists who are going to the festival, the XX, Young Thug, FKA Twigs, The Strokes, Little Sims, Iggy Pop, Major Lazer, Giveon, Cat's-Eye, Addison Rae. I think these folks are big within their own scenes, right? Like I would definitely be juiced to go see Major Lazer, go see Giveon, Cat's-Eye. Like I would love. And there's a lot of cross genre appeal to it all. But I do think that these middle tier artists can sometimes feel like supporting acts depending on production and set times. That's a big part of it too. You know what I mean? There are a lot of these like middle tier artists who will probably be like a 4 p.m., 6 p.m. artist who end up having incredible sets, and it works out. What people are gonna think of these acts is truly gonna depend on the production and the set times. The undercard, the emerging artists, kind of those bottom tier, small named people. I don't know why Teddy Swims is down there, but he is. Teddy Swims has had also an incredible year, right? We also got Sexy Red, CMAT, Wet Leg, Central C, Dijon. I think all of these folks, there's some like freshness to that. There's a discoverability. There's a credibility in these like really niche circles. Like Central C is fucking crazy. Teddy Swims is already getting such popularity, right? Sexy Red, next hitter in the hip hop space. We'll see again how production and set times end up turning out, but they are lower in the building. They could potentially be at the smaller stages, and they may not hit the bigger crowds. Nonetheless, though, like I'm not too upset about these folks. Like I think they all are a pretty decent set of crowd pleasers. I'm gonna kind of wrap things up by just talking really quickly about where I think this is me complaining again. Where I think Coachella is losing its edge. After literally voicing this out to you all again, like I'll see you there. Like I'm gonna pull up, and we're gonna have a good time nonetheless. Coachella to me will always be that fucking festival. Like I'm not here to talk shit. Well, I am here to talk shit, but not to the degree where I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm fuck Coachella, I'm never gonna pull up. No, I will be there. But there are elements of the festival that I think are just not making it as big of a moment as it used to be. And as these fucking tickets get more and more expensive, I don't know if this shit is justifying the ticket sales. You know what I mean? I don't know if this the lineup and the billing and how the festival's turned out to be is justifying me spending close to $1,000 to go to this fucking thing. Headliners, I think they're a moment versus name recognition. The top names are huge, but the big question for me is always like, are they legendary festival moments? The risky bets that Coachella takes, they're good artists. Maybe they're not the must-see artists, but like they're great people that I think are coming up and gaining momentum. And again, Coachella's very good at reflecting that. I do think that overall, though, there are crowd expectations. If these like middle top undercard acts aren't elevated, energy can feel flat a lot of times at the festival. I remember, I mean, I will also say it's like social media and TikTok and the fact that people are showing up to the fucking festival just take a picture and then dip the fuck out. I remember going to the festival back in my day in years past and just feeling like I could lose my sense of the outside world for 3 days. Forget about like anything that was happening outside of the venue. And everybody there was there to do one thing, and that was turn the fuck up and have a good time. Now, it's not giving that. I will also say that one thing that I've started to uncover being more true of the festival as of recent years, and a lot of artists that were there last year felt like it fall in this category, but uh, there's a lean towards genre versus depth. There are these like under the radar acts that, in my opinion, oftentimes define the edge that Coachella used to get. These like really small named people that you're like, I don't know who the fuck these people are, but like that was their moment to catapult themselves into the next level. Like Coachella used to really do its research on like really finding these people who were the trendsetters, who were the next wave of artists. But they need the spotlight to shine. And I feel like even though Coachella's still pulling some of these artists in, it's not giving them the spotlight that they need to shine, right? And an example of that is there could be an amazing artist who gets put at a 2 p.m. set time. Crowds are going to be minimal because the festival is hot as shit. You know, it's not even like I don't want to go see them. My friends always say this, but Coachella is a marathon, not a race. You know, if you've never been to the festival, just know that like you truly gotta pace yourself the fuck out in all ends. With that being said, not a lot of people are gonna show up at 2 p.m. when it's hot as fuck. And sometimes Coachella be fucking up these artists who are truly like the trendsetters by putting them at 2 p.m. on the lineup. Nobody's showing up for them. And you're like, what the fuck? You know, these people do truly deserve the spotlight to allow them to create these moments for the festival and for their fans. I'll just end by saying that yes, I'll be at the festival next year. I'll see you there. I'll see you there, okay? I can almost guarantee that I'm gonna be at that fucking festival. I hate missing the buzz. I hate watching y'all bitches have fun while I sit at home. Even with what is now going to be a 5-hour flight from New York to the desert, instead of what used to be a one hour flight from the Bay Area to the desert, I'm pulling up. Okay? The love that I have for music and the festival will always outweigh the lineup's shortcomings. I'll say that every time. Coachella has lost some of its edge, sure, but the festival is still a lot of fun. When it does bring the right crowd, and when you bring the right crowd, and when you're with the right people, the vibes are there. So, whether you're a veteran or a newcomer, I want y'all to weigh in on the $700 ticket first and foremost, okay? But I also want you to yourself weigh the cost of this ticket with everything. the lineup, the vibes, the spectacle, and ask yourself, am I going? I can still, at this point in my life, justify it and say that I will. I will be there. So if you're going, hit me up. Honestly, y'all, let's link up. Let's have a drink. Let's enjoy the festival, okay? This year, I think I will be going to weekend 2. I have for the last 11 years gone to weekend 1, so this will probably be the first year that I go weekend 2, and I can talk about all that in a different episode. If you are gonna go to the festival this year and want to learn all the tips and tricks for going to the festival, I have like I think 2 or 3 podcast episodes somewhere in the fold where I talk about all the tips and tricks, everything you need to know to survive your weekend in the desert. So go check those out. But most likely than not, if I end up turning up to weekend 2, like I'm gonna make a full ass episode talking about what the vibes are for weekend 2, because I've always been intrigued. And this year, now that I'm 30, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm into the whole show up weekend 1 at 12 when the gates are open. No, 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 no. Now it's giving pull up at 4 p.m., catch who I want to see, sip a little drink, and then hit the hay at 12. That's what it's giving. Anyways, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I think I mentioned this before, but I'm trying to get back into it. Okay, I have another episode that I'm literally recording right after this, where we're going to talk about creative direction. So stick around. There will be more coming, I promise you. And now that I'm in New York, I'm feeling like y'all need some vlogs, some shit outside of my house. You know what I mean? We're gonna go. We're gonna explore. We're gonna figure ourselves out while we're here in the city for the first time. We want to document that for you all. So tune in, subscribe, do whatever the fuck. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.